Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, and today I thought I would give you a quick primer in terms of prepping to do some reel repair. A lot of folks have asked me over time, what is it that you need other than the technical knowledge to do the reel repairs? And I thought I would show you some of the setup that I have prior to opening up a reel. It's worked consistently with me, and it's always been something that is tried and true in terms of process and procedure. So I thought I would take you a quick overview of the products that I use, the tools that I use, and the setup that I have on my workbench. I work out of a basement, so it's always nice to have a nice warm place, but something that's remote where you can put the dedicated space aside. But this works just as well on a kitchen table or in a den or anywhere where you may want to explore or practice some reel repair. So let's start with some of the products and the setup. Before I ever get started, I always want to make sure that I have the stuff near at hand so that I don't have to run and drop an open reel to go grab something that may have been missing from the assortment. So I have a lot of tools laid out, as you can see. I have them in tools trays particularly, and all within reach, so that if I need to grab a piece or a part with the pliers, for example, that is always nearby and close at hand. So let me start with the tools for opening up the reel, and then we'll talk about some of the products I use in lubricating the reel and so on. So there are tools that are made specifically for reel repair. In this case, these two are wrenches for the handles and some various nuts. This is a pen reels wrench that comes with most of the new reels that you purchase. And this is an aftermarket one. You can see that the holes are identical. This one's a little bit thicker, and if you're working on reels on a regular basis, good to have this one. Better leverage, as well as a little bit easier to work than the narrow thickness of this one when you start extracting that handle nut. I work on spinning reels, and this is probably one of the most valuable tools I have. It's actually an offset wrench. When you're working on a spinning reel and you want to take the rotor off, most of the time that's secured by a nut on top, and that nut on top is usually a 9/16 or a half inch, and with that offset it enables you to reach right in there. But for a tool basis, you would want to have an assortment of wrenches, both metric and standard, as various reels use different size nuts on the rotor shaft, particularly as you get into some of the smaller reels. I then have an assortment of screwdrivers. I have a very small screwdriver for nuts like the handle set screw on a pen reel. I have an electrician's screwdriver. I like that for the rubber coating handle here, but I also like the dimension of the tip. That fits most of the small side plate screws that are flat-headed screws on most reels. I have a little bit larger flat-headed screwdriver, as well as a larger Phillips head, and I have a smaller size Phillips head screwdriver as well. And then in the assortment I also have some pliers, general pump pliers that I use as a channel lock pliers. Most of the time that's for gripping something like a bridge plate, and those of you who may have seen one of my videos know that if I have to use heat, I prefer to hold the bridge plate with that. And then a couple of different sizes on the needle nose pliers work as well. And that's particularly useful when you're grabbing small pieces and parts. The last two things I would show you is I use a utility knife, not only for opening boxes and things, but also as a scraper, so that if you have some corrosion on a bridge plate or something, you can scrape that down, as well as, for example, crossbars on a fishing reel that may show some corrosion. You can generally start getting rid of some of the heavier corrosion by using a utility knife as a scraper. And then the last one, probably one of the most used tools I have in my kit, is actually a piece of a tool. It's from an awl, and it's just a little metal set point, and I use that to align holes for screws. I use that to pull off C-clips. And more times than not, this thing is in my hand for a variety of purposes. So you won't find that thing in Home Depot or anything, but if you have something similar, or even a finishing nail, sometimes those become very useful. Okay, those are the tools that generally fit almost every purpose and procedure that I do in reel repair. So let's move over to the products for just a moment to show you some of the ones I use there. The process starts with taking a reel apart before you even know what you're going to need. And one of the things I use all the time is a little parts tray. In this case, it's just a fast food container. I've been known to use bottoms of milk jugs and so on. But if you can keep a parts tray around, put all your parts in there, when you go to reassemble the reel, you're not going to be looking for them. You'll know where to find them. I also use for cleaning, I use scrubby pads right off the grocery store shelves. I always wear a protective latex glove. Those are available from most any supply store, but I use these to keep the contaminants off my hand. At a minimum, I'm always using one on my non-working hand, and if the reel is particularly greasy or has a lot of contamination in it, I'm going to put one on both hands. I also use it from a cleaning standpoint, cotton swabs. These things are great in terms of getting into cracks and crevices inside the reel, scooping up excess lubrications, dirty grease, and so on. So a nice little thing to use. And then from a cleaning perspective as well, I always have a roll of paper towels on hand. It's just a good place to get rid of that surplus and keep yourself clean all around. The final product I'll show you, or the two that I show you on cleaning, I use a general purpose degreaser. In this case, it's Purple Power. It's a concentrated industrial strength greaser. You can find this at Walmart and online. I haven't found anything better in terms of cleaning general grime and grease off of fishing reels. If you know of any products like that, let me know in the comments section of the video. I'll be happy to try them. And then I use an abrasive cleaner. In this case, I use a metal chrome polish from Turtle Wax, and I use steel wool for that particularly crusty kind of grime and corrosion that you want to get off. I use a 4.0 steel wool. I find that anything beyond 4.0, if you're going up the coarse scale, can scratch and scrape, but the 4.0 seems to buff and polish without scraping. So I use those. And then from a general lubrication standpoint, I use a blue grease, which is, in this case, it's a Penn precision reel grease. There are other blue greases out there, but these are machined and manufactured for fishing reels. From an oil standpoint, which I put on bearings, I use a Reelex. I find that this one is one of the better ones on the marketplace. There are others out there. Most manufacturers include it, and this one is Laker, but just make sure that you have one that's engineered for fishing reels. And then I use, for the drags, I use a Cal's Universal Reel Grease to keep the drags both on the spinning reels and the conventional reels well lubricated and flexible. And then finally, just from a specialty standpoint, I use a butane torch on hard to get frozen metal. It's a last resort, but sometimes you'll have a pinion gear stuck. Actually, I did a video on that where I had a pinion gear stuck to the main bridge, and this was able to free that up. But I wouldn't recommend it as a general procedure. And then just some specialty tools. I always have a scissor on hand. A lot of the times the reels that come into the shop are a mess. You bring a bird's nest in on a spool, and I'll just use the scissor to cut that. And then some small wire brushes, cotton brushes, and so on for cleaning. But if you start yourself in that type of a setup where you have everything close at hand, you have the products you need, and you have the tools you anticipate that you're going to need for the service, then the service can be done relatively quickly and without incident. You'll notice most of the reels that I post on the videos, the entire process from take apart to repair to cleaning to reassemble takes less than 20 minutes once you have all of this set up. So I wish you good luck in your endeavors if you're going to set up to repair a reel. I hope some of these tips and some of these products that you find value in them, and that if you have any suggestions, if there's other things that you use, I'd love to hear from you, again, in the comments section. If you like these types of videos, please subscribe to my channel. If you like this one in particular, please indicate that you liked it, and I wish you the best in your reel repairs, and good luck fishing. This is Dennis with the Second Chance Tackle. Thank you.